Hi, and welcome to Community Hotline at Home. I'm Monica Weitzel. Today we'll be featuring Don't Shoot Portland. Social justice issues have been at the forefront of the local and national conversation for months, and Don't Shoot Portland has been working here since 2014, advocating for accountability to create social change. Black-led and community-driven, this group is a community action plan involved in activism work. With us today is Ty Carpenter, president of Don't Shoot Portland. Ty, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks for coming.
Hi, Monica. Thank you for accommodating the timing and just everything changing so much on a daily basis. I appreciate it.
No problem. You've been very, very busy. Your organization is pretty much in the news all the time, especially for anybody who might be following the protests in Portland. Maybe you could just give us a brief overview for those who don't understand exactly what it is you do or what your mission is.
So Don't Shoot Portland is a community action plan, meaning that we work with community in order to build our resources, empower our mutual aid networks, and also make change happen. Civic participation is a big part of that as well. So we really try to implement programming that will not only educate, but activate kids and youth especially to get involved.
How long ago did your organization start? Was it around 2014? Is that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and Tressa Rayford was doing this work before it was officially established as a nonprofit. So that's why it's sort of like it's been a little longer than official
Longer
document.
than that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's work that's there's a lot to be done. There's a lot to be done. Now, your organization, like I said, has been involved in a lot of the protests. Is that something that you're still continuing to do and still be involved in, or have you kind of moved away from that?
Well, we've always been just inspiring people to be on the front lines while being able to watch out for their rights and protesting. Pretty much as long as people are going to be out there on the street, we're inspiring people to go out there and, fight for your rights and educate each other and one another and protect each other. And we're going to keep filing as many lawsuits as we need to. We've had some preliminary injunctions that we've had to file based on the different tactics that were being ushered in. It's constantly changing. So we have like a big team now of collaborative lawyers working together to make sure that everything is covered.
Well, it's a scary thing when people are out there, they want to protest peacefully, in most cases, and then ends up being tear gas or the rubber bullets or whatever, those less lethal weapons can be very, very damaging. And I know that you have something on your website that kind of goes into more depth about that. Tell me about that. One of the lawsuits surrounds that idea, right? Is that the one with the city of Portland?
Yeah, basically it's all about riot control agents and how they're being used during a global respiratory pandemic. We've never seen this before. We've never seen something like COVID before. No. And the aggressiveness of the tactics, kettling people and dousing them in the tear gas, which, people are starting to find out more about the chemical compounds of it. The fact that it's actually a powder that becomes a gas, the fact that they're using expired CS gas as effects that we don't even know about. So it's really scary and there's a lot of uncertainty. So that's why I think it's important that we are able to lead with science on this, because people, even if you're not protesting, you're being affected. And
I heard the police not very long ago, and had all of our windows open, and we could hear them saying, "We're going to be using the tear gas," and it was close enough that I knew that it would come in our windows. Luckily, it didn't come to that, but if you've got families and kids and anybody, any of us, we don't want to be around that. So it can be a very scary thing. So I think
it's been shown to interrupt menstruation cycles. That's biological weaponry. It's very scary.
It is a scary thing. So it's good to get educated, and then that's definitely not something we want to be involved in. Thank you for your work on that.
Absolutely. And the riot control agents report I'm talking about, that I'm referring to, was compiled by a team of health professionals, Black doctors, neuroscientists, mental health consultants. So there's a lot of great information there, and it's available on our website.
Good. Yeah, I've started reading it. I haven't finished it yet, but it was. Yeah.
6 pages.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
So you've talked to a lot of the people that have been affected by this, right? By those the chemicals and everything else that, has been happening, the people that have been injured. What do you do with that information? Is that part of your lawsuit then?
Yeah, so they go directly to our lawyers. I end up seeing them as well before, like, we forward them all into spreadsheets and whatnot. But it's terrible. Every time I check one of our social media pages, I'm, bombarded with messages of people being like, help me, they did this to me. I have a video of the police doing this to someone. And it's horrible.
Yeah.
People are facing terror every day on the streets. I mean, we're almost 100 days of protest, and
Oh,
I don't think there's been a single day that there hasn't been violence
yeah.
being
Yeah.
inflicted on protesters.
Yeah. And that's really too bad. That's really a sad thing. So when we're talking about the protests, people, go out to protest because they have a message. They want, get a message out that, that Black Lives Matter, and that, people have been treated unfairly, that the police have been, have overstepped their authority and are killing people. So some of those messages tend to get lost sometimes because other things that happen, like federal agents coming and how do you keep people or help people to stay on message so those messages don't get lost?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that a lot of it is the media that decides to focus on different aspects. So people decide to be distracted by that. But I really think that the messaging has not been lost, especially when every day unfortunately, we have new victims of gun violence emerging. It's constant. Like it's almost unreal, So, but as far as staying on messaging, yeah, I think we've been doing a good job. Everyone that was here on the ground, they know it was never about the feds. PPB was brutalizing people much, way before federal agents came. And
yeah, this has been going on for a very long time, but
yeah.
I feel like it's finally gotten to where other than the Black community, other people are finally, taking notice and going, oh, wow, I didn't realize it was so bad, and I think that's a really good thing. What else do you need to keep the movement going? How can we help? How can I, as a white person, or as anybody in the community, help to keep this going? Do you want more people protesting? Do you need more funding? How can we help?
I think people need to keep showing up how they can, and you don't need to go downtown just to protest. I mean, I've seen one person on their street corner with their own sign, and I think that's beautiful too. Just keep showing up how you can, and for the people in your life, the local organizations that are available, donate to them, support them, see if they have any available call to actions. We have a mutual aid spreadsheet. It's called Mutual Aid for Black Lives Matter. And there's daily phone numbers you can call. There's petitions that haven't met their goals yet. There's medic groups you can support on the ground, ASL interpretation. There's so much that you can do. And if, money is a way that you can support, then there's endless ways. Engage your mind, educate yourself, watch some films. There's so many different anti-racist resources now out there, which is beautiful. Begin to understand policies and how they might not affect you, but they will affect people that you love and people that don't look like you. Become civically engaged.
Yeah, you're right. There are a lot of resources. You really just have to look for them. It's not that hard.
Wonderful resources that are just, like Rolling Stone did an article on, top 10 anti-racist resources. Like, I'm sure on Google, if you type in how to be an anti-racist, you'll find it's more than just one book.
Yes, that's right. So tell me just a little bit more about the mutual aid work that you do. What is it that you actually do?
So basically, we use our network to sort of do calls to action within the community. If there are family members or communities that are in need, we pretty much put a call out, and it's been beautiful. We use our own space as a distribution space to our house camps. We're in contact with many people who will bring supply lists directly to us or other specific needs. And then we just try to connect one another and empower each other and build it up, because a lot of people don't know their neighbors, and that's something that really needs to change in order to build more community care and less less policing and less fear and less feeling restricted to how we can help or how we can provide help, you know.
I think that's a really good point. If you know your neighbors, you're less likely to call the police on them. You're less likely to, have an altercation with them.
They always say, like, borrowing sugar or something. It's like, no one goes to their neighbor's house to borrow sugar anymore.
When I moved into our neighborhood, a lady across the street brought fudge that she made for our family. I was like, wow, people still do that. That's so cool. Like, oh, wow. Yeah. Instantly endeared me to her. So yeah, those kinds of things, they do, they help. So if there's any one thing that before I get there, I want to say something about your, the Library of Congress. This is something really exciting that I read, was that the Don't Shoot Portland is archived for your anti-racist work. So that it's actually going to be in the Library of Congress. That's a pretty exciting thing.
It's amazing. It's really cool. At first, when we got the email, we were just like kind of shocked that we even got that recognition, because a lot of the work we do is made to be sustainable for the long term. We have a relationship with the community, with the City of Archives here in Portland already. And a lot of our work and protest artwork has been put into their archives. But that was it was like a really big highlight. We care so much about history and sustainability and educating ourselves in community-based archives. So that was like pretty
cool.
major.
A nice little pat on the back. Yeah, you're doing good work. So that's great. And the history is so important, because we, obviously, if you look back at Oregon's history, it's not really pleasant in this on this subject. So
that's when we see not much has changed. It puts things into perspective instead of just imagining 100 years ago or way before. It's like, no, this was 40 years ago, this was 25 years ago, this was last week. Really have to put things into perspective by researching, and I think it helps a lot of people.
I think it does too. I think you've done a lot of good work. So what is the one thing that you want people to take away from this conversation? What do you think is most important they should think about?
Just remembering to show up for one another and trying to become civically engaged, because it's about more than just, buying a Black Lives Matter sign or a Black Lives Matter shirt. You really need to, help your community, become a part of your community, undo what you've seen done to so many people.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ty. I really appreciate it. You're doing really good work there. And I just, I hope that people will take this to heart. So thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. You're welcome. And for all of you watching, please, from all of us at Metro East, stay healthy, stay safe, and please get out there and get involved with your community.